And all right, welcome guys. So thank you guys for showing up. I'm super excited about this week's episode. I have a very dear friend, special guest to talk about some of course, something that's very near and dear to my heart because it's really changed my life a lot. Working with plant medicine. So I'm gonna leave all the specifics to the maestro over here. So everyone, welcome David Palma, Master Icaro. He is here.
And
He is here to discuss everything related to plant medicines and whatever questions you guys have. Throw it in the chat, and I'll go ahead and I'll be the mediator, and we'll get all you guys question and answer. Okay. So without further ado, David, man, introduce yourself.
hey, brother. Thanks for having me. Pleasure, and thank you for everybody for tuning in. Can you hear me okay? Everything sounds good out here? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I noticed I don't use Zoom too, I guess I do, but not too often. But I just noticed it says Master Icaro on there, so that's kind of funny. So yeah, I want to introduce myself. My name is David Palma. My Shipibo name is Roni Sui. I work with I'm a plant medicine guy, so I work with different sacred plant medicines from the indigenous Amazon jungle. I was initiated several years back by my teacher Vilma Mawa, and just outside of, or inside Peru in the Amazon jungle. And a lot of my work on this earth and my service is in plant medicine. But really, plant medicine is just kind of one of the tools, one of the channels that I use to help people come back, ultimately to recenter to themselves, to realign. The strongest medicine that I offer, I always tell people, is meditation. You know, if I could get you to really master meditation, that's something that you'll have for the rest of your life, without having anything or needing anything. And through that mastery, you will have everything that you'll ever need and beyond. So that's kind of what my teaching, my coaching really circles around, is just self mastery and really bringing all aspects of yourself into alignment. You know, because you're a multidimensional being. You have your emotional body, your pain body, your mental body, your physical body, all these different aspects of yourself, right? And although there's all these great modalities and practices and things all over the world, all these biohacks and things like that, they're all just pieces to the puzzle. So for me, I like to use anything necessary for anybody I'm working with. I'm kind of just tune into the energy and see where they're fractalized, you know, where their energy is present, and use whatever medicine and whatever vibration frequency they need to kind of bring them back.
How can I help you?
I'm echoing.
Sorry about that. No, I got it.
Okay. So that's kind of the medicine that I carry, and kind of the work I do on this earth currently. So big thank you to Justin for having me, for inviting me in, and for working with me and trusting me along the way. You know, it's been a fun path the past couple of years, and yeah, you know, isn't it all when we decide to heal and really just dive into those deeper dimensions within ourselves. You know, if, like I always tell people, if you're still here, you're still walking in the flesh, there's still work to do. You don't have to do it. You can do whatever you want. But if you have any complaints in your life, then there's work to do, you know. But if you're happy, if you're enjoyed, if you're dancing through it, then God bless you, keep going, you know. So thank you for having me again. Thank you for everybody for tuning in, and yeah. Cool.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So keep going, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you want me to just go into plant medicine?
Yeah, man. Let's first maybe talk about. I'm really interested about like the whole initiation process, like that you went through.
Okay.
Like why did you decide to do what you're doing?
That's a good question. So I didn't necessarily decide much. It was all kind of predestined, decided for me. I just kind of aligned with it and accepted the contract, if you will. But yeah, I'll start with kind of my story that got me there. Kind of a short version of it, but long story short, I got sick. I was experiencing just kidney and liver low energy when I was about 22 years old. And back then I was playing semi-pro football. I was riding motorcycles. I had four-wheelers. I was making six figures, selling cars. So at the age of 22, I was living like a mini Wolf of Wall Street, right? I had plenty of money. I was playing sports, riding motorcycle. I had all the toys that I wanted, right? I could do anything that I wanted at age 22, right? That any 22-year-old, right, would be like, wow, that's cool. And then I started experiencing illness. I couldn't go to the bathroom for 4 days. And through Chinese medicine, I went from the worst I ever was in my life to the best I ever was in my life in literally 2 weeks. And what I did was I went to an acupuncturist, a Chinese medicine. I never believed in the medical system, never believed in ibuprofen, Tylenol, never took it. Even as a kid, I just intuitively didn't like any of that. If I had a fever, I would ride it out. I would just sweat for 2 days. Like I would sweat for 2 days in my bed, and then I'd be good. I'd come back stronger. So just as a kid, never liked any of that stuff. And as an adult, it was the same way. So I got a number to a Chinese medicine doctor, and I knew that I didn't even know what the kind of doctor she was. My partner at the time suggested that I go here, and I was just like, okay, cool. I'm open to it as long as it's not Western medicine in the hospital. I'm cool. And the moment I walked in, like I just knew that was the answer for me. So I decided that moment in my life, literally as I was receiving acupuncture, the biggest transformation in my life was that I accepted full fault and full responsibility, I should say, for what had happened in my life, for that current condition that I was in. I accepted it. You know, that's probably the biggest hurdle that a lot of people have. In my experience working with people is truly embodying their manifestation, embodying their creation, what they have done, right? And it's not fault. I say responsibility because you were just doing the best you could, you know, at the time. Now that you know better, you know, you could do something else. So I literally just told she was my first teacher actually on my path. I told her, she's like, how are you so calm? I was like, well, I know I created this, so I'm going to create something else. It was that simple for me, right? It was just like, I did this, so I'm just going to do something else now.
Common sense.
And so as soon as I left her office, in those 2 weeks, I started meditating. Like I've never meditated before in my life up to that point. I was doing yoga for a couple of years, but very, very physical, not very deeply inside. But I always knew about health. I always knew about healthy eating. I just never really did it. I used to eat like large pizzas by myself, quad stackers. Like I was doing it. And so that was for me at the age of 22, experiencing illness and having like illness like in my family and just seeing the toxicity around in family and around me, right? I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. Like I was an athlete. Like I always excelled in what I did in school and in sports. I always played sports since young. So I was like, I'm not going to be overweight. I'm not going to be unhealthy. I'm not going to do what I've seen happen to all these people around in my life. That's not my journey. So I decided that I was in a shift. I started meditating for an hour to 2 hours a day, which turned into a full year of 4 a.m. wake ups to do an hour to 2 hour long microcosmic meditation, which is the strongest energy meditation you could do to circulate your energy. But in those 2 weeks, I was meditating. I was cooking everything. I obviously cut out dairy, meat, all that good stuff, or not so good stuff. And I cut it all out, and I was just cooking all my food, most importantly, with intention, with love, speaking to the spirits, thanking Mother Earth for bringing this, for allowing it to heal my body. And literally 2 weeks later, I turned 23 in that process in those 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, I was vibrating. I was like, whoo! I was sleeping for 4 hours and running for 2 days. Mind you, I'm working out 2 hours a day, both days. I couldn't sleep. I just had all the energy. I was studying. Like that teacher opened up the library of the universe, I say, for me. She showed me the door, and I kicked that bad boy in, and I was like, I've been waiting for this my whole life, you know? Because I always knew there's more in life. I always knew the people around were crazy, right? They're not crazy, but they're just like doing the best they can. And I was just like, this is not it. Like, you guys did not figure it out yet. And I was just waiting. So I'm thankful for the catalyst of illness that got me to kind of wake up, if you will. And so that began my journey. That began my spiritual journey. And I formed a healthy addiction. I said, okay, I'm 23 years old. I just did that in 2 weeks. Like, I was the worst I ever was in my life. And now I'm the best. And that was 2 weeks. What can I do with the rest of my life? Like I was excited. I was like, wow. So 2 months later, I mean, that's what started the whole spiritual awakening, and it got deep and dark for about a year and a half, intensely at least. You know, it still would progressively go through those stages. But yeah, like 2 weeks after that, I had a conversation with God, and I was just like, I was realizing that I wasn't who I was. That was the biggest thing for me. I was like, whoa, this person we call David, right? It's not really me. This is just an accumulation of like all the shit that I accepted and that I put on myself for the past, 23 years.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like mad, not mad at anybody, but just like, damn, like happy that I found out, but also like, damn, like I'm not doing this. Like I was not going to live that fake life. Like I was just like, this isn't me. So I literally clocked out. I had a conversation with God. I was like, I'm not leaving my room. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not doing nothing. We're going to figure this out. I don't care if whatever I got to do right now, whatever pain I got to go through, we're doing it now. That's how I was talking to God, right? I was like, no, we're doing this right now. I'm not doing this. Like I quit my job. I broke up with my girlfriend. I wasn't talking to my family for like a year to year and a half. I was just meditating and I was just like this. Nope, we're going to do the work. I mean, there was days that I was crying for like 2 days straight, and I don't cry. Like I invite tears into my life at any time. Tears come in. Like I'm down to cry. It just is something that's not, you as a Capricorn know. It's something that doesn't come easy.
Yeah.
So I was going through it, and 2 months later, I met ayahuasca. I got invited by the same teacher. She was my doctor, my teacher, and did ceremony. And since the first ceremony, I was like, whoa, like I had a super deep experience. I was just super connected to the plants from the get-go, super connected. And I had no idea what a shaman actually was at that point, at that point in my life. Other than like what you read real quick in school or online, if you're not on the path, you picture like Mongolian shamans or Native American shamans, like, something very superficial and basic, right? Or like maybe like some witches or something, right?
Yeah.
But like the first time I sat, I was just like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how how do you study this? Like I was just like super in it, like knowing that it's not something you like get certified in or anything. But I was just like in my journey, it was like, this is it. Like this is like I could learn forever here. Like I'm down. And I didn't even know, like I didn't ask anybody like, oh, how do I, like I didn't pursue it. I just had that realization inside, like, whoa, this is amazing. So I already knew like my path to medicine was going to evolve. So a year later, I made it down to Peru on a three-week retreat, and I ended up staying for 4 months and going through a whole initiation. I had a whole rebirth there. At that point, like I said, I quit. I wasn't working. I refused to work in the corporate world again. Like I didn't care. I was struggling. Like there was months I sold my car. Like I was riding my bike everywhere. I was happy as shit. Nobody was happier than me at that time in my life. I mean, there were some dark times, but I was literally riding my bike for 45 minutes to one of the jobs that I had. It wasn't like a corporate job. I was like a sole proprietor. So I was my own boss, right? I was doing whatever the hell I wanted. So I ride my bike 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, listening to the Wayne Dyer on my earphones, to Eckhart Tolle. Like I promise you, nobody at that point in time was happier than me. There's no way. I couldn't imagine it. And but yeah, there's some struggles. I mean, I was negative in my bank account for a couple of months. Like I was like doing what I just hustling, right? Because I refused. I was like, I'm not accepting that old life. I was just so like, nope, I'm not doing it. So yeah, so I went to, it was hard, but eventually I started being more successful. I started teaching meditation, doing body work, Reiki back then, and all these things, right, that I was practicing and studying, on my own. And so I made it to Peru. I dieted. I did my first dieta, which I'll speak about, what that is and everything. And I had a whole rebirth. And when I say rebirth, like literally, like I puked out like sand of one of my purges. Yeah, I was talking to my teacher. She was like, I literally, like when I was like the purge, one of the purges of my life, right? It felt like sand was coming out. Like I've never had any experience like that up to this point, and 700 plus ceremonies later, like never experienced that. So yeah, we had hours of conversation after ceremony and everything, but yeah, basically it was like just complete rebirth. I was just like in a whole new like vibration, like all the ancestral stuff, all the things that were just like hold me. Like I translate it as like time. Think of the keeper of time in the sand and the hourglass, right?
Oh
Seeking
yeah.
out all that stuff, right? And yeah, so I just developed a super close relationship with my teacher there, Vilma, um and was talking to her like after every ceremony. And we did like 9 ceremonies in those 3 weeks. And after every ceremony, I was talking to her, and we developed like super like mother son relationship. And it was coming to an end, the retreat, and I was just like what can I do? Like I want to keep learning. Like I was just like anything for me. Once I went through that 2 week healing, intense healing, for me, anything that was getting me to be closer to my soul, to myself, to my center, that's what I wanted to do. If you weren't part of that, if it was an activity that was part of that, I wanted nothing to do with it. Like I didn't care who you were, family or anything. If it wasn't serving me to my highest good, it didn't exist in my world. I wasn't doing it. So when I was there, I was just like, how do I do more? And she's like, well, you could stay and we'll teach you more. You'll diet more and take you through a whole initiation. And for me, there was no question. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
So I flew back because I had to be the best man in my friend's wedding, literally the day after that 3 week retreat. So I flew back. I did what I signed up for, and a week or two, like 2 weeks later, I just arranged all the things that I had to do here, right, to be gone for 4 months.
Yeah.
I went right back and I went through intense diet, basically isolation, intense medicines beyond ayahuasca, lots of purging, lots of solo time, lots of fasting, an immense full amount of fasting. And yeah, just kind of getting guided by the plants more than anything. My teacher was just a guide. The plants were the teachers. So I was just spending time by myself in a little jungle hut in the middle of the Amazon jungle, hours away from any type of civilization. That civilization that was there is like, it's the largest rural, Iquitos specifically, which is the closest like town, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
is the largest rural town in the world. It's like an island. It's very not pleasant as far as clean and stuff. But so even that was like a joke. I was just literally in the middle of the Amazon jungle, just going through the whole initiation, learning from the plants. Really doing dietas and basically what a dieta is um, there's different plants known as master teacher plants, and these master teacher plants are every single plant here on earth is a teacher. It could heal something, it could teach you something, right? Some of them are a little bit more lightful, some of them are a little bit darker, right? Some are a little bit more sorcery plants, but there's segregated amount of plants that are called master teacher plants that are like plants just like humans, right? There's we all have wisdom, we all are medicine, right? But there's certain humans on this vibration. There's certain beings that are like enlightened beings, if you will, or certain masters, or and whatever, whether it's the Zen master, Kung Fu master, Buddhist master, whatever it is, right? So there's different plants in the same way that are holding beyond wisdom, beyond. And so doing a dieta is not just diet, right? The word translates to diet, right? But it's not just dieting, right? Food restriction is part of the whole process, but in the jungle term, doing a dieta is what you're doing is you're drinking a tea of one of these master teacher plants, right? That might have been chosen by your teacher, might have came to you in ceremony, might have came to you in a dream. You may be just be called to because these different plants have different qualities. And these different qualities, obviously, some are more heart opening, some are more to heal relationships, ancestral energy. Some are more teach you how to walk in the other world, in the spirit world, and kind of have a foot in both worlds, and et cetera, right? Some teach you about medicine and how to heal patients with herbs, and there's everything under the sun, literally. So the means, what you're doing is you're basically signing a contract for the rest of your life. You're inviting the spirit of this plant. You're drinking a tea, and you're forming a contract, and stating your intention. You're stating your intention. What is it that you want from the spirit? You're not drinking tea. You're conversing with the spirit, and you're basically saying whatever it is that you feel. And hey, I intend to diet you for say like a month, and in this process, I'm looking to connect with you, to expand my heart, to whatever it is you want, whatever it is that nobody can tell you what that is, right? And your intention's like the key. You know, your intention's super key, and no matter what you say, the plant spirit always knows where you're at consciously. So you can't like BS your way into something like this. Like the plants know, you know.
Yeah.
So through that process, what you're doing is you're fasting, like as much as possible. You're eating like 10 foods, if that, right? 10 of the same foods. No salt, no oil, no sugar, no nothing. You're basically eating like rice, potatoes, quinoa, eggs, if you eat eggs, maybe fish. If you're lucky, you may get a fish or two, but technically, generally no. Bananas, and um, maybe you get a salad of like lettuce and tomato.
Salad.
That's really about it. And you're just fasting, you're doing ceremonies, you're by yourself, you're meditating, journaling, and that's it. Like your days are long. You eventually can't sleep when you're fasting for 3, 4, 5, 6. Some people fasted for 20 plus days. Some people fasted for 30 days, you know. The more that you commit to this journey, to that plant, right? The longer you fast, the more foods that you limit, right? Aside from the ones you're already limited to, the more that you truly just meditate and don't have bad thoughts, because the moment that you drink that tea, right? And like my teacher says, think 1,000 times before you drink anything, whether it's ayahuasca, whether it's peyote, whether it's rape, whether it's anything. You are working with a powerful being, and if you don't respect it, you're going to get your ass kicked. You're going to learn some super hard lessons and maybe even damage yourself permanently. So before you are forming this contract, think 1,000 times, why are you doing this? What is your intention? What do you want out of this? Because there's no going back. Once you drink that tea, buckle up, you know. And so they're going to test you, you know, through this process. You're going through tests, you know. If you intended to be a teacher, per se, or whatever it is that you intended, right? You want to be a teacher of their medicine. They're going to test you. They're not going to give anybody their power. They're not going to give anybody their energy and their ultimately wisdom. You know, there's deep wisdom of this universe that I don't care what universe you went to, what occult you're in. There's things that you will never learn unless the plants teach you. It's out of this world. It's literally breaking time. It's literally with sorcery. It's literally learning the spirit. Not just like, oh, I learned the Akashic records, or oh, I learned this. Like, you're learning sacred infinite alchemy. Shall they decide that you are worthy, I guess, shall you be committed ultimately? And the plants choose you. You know, there's nothing you could do. Everything, it's not the same. If I died a plant and you died the same plant, we'll never get taught the same things, you know, because we have different intentions, we have different vibrations we're in, we have different missions. So whatever it is that the plant sees fit for us is what the plant's going to give us, is what the plant's going to align with us. Or maybe the plant doesn't give us anything and just leaves us alone, you know, just kind of helps us on our journey and healing. Because obviously if they're not willing to teach us, it's probably because there's something within us that isn't in alignment, right? Yeah. So they'll probably just help you heal that, and that's about it. You know, they're not going to give you beyond that, because you still have a long road of different type of healing. You know, it's not good, it's not better or worse, it's just that's where you are, you know, vibration, that's where you are within your mind. Because for this work, you have to have a strong mind, man. A strong, decided mind. There's no like wishy-washy stuff. There's no like, today you're going to be a maestro and tomorrow you're not.
Right.
Your whole life is a maestro. Every single moment, you know. That's if you ever read Carlos Castaneda books, like Don Juan always says, is every single opportunity, every single experience in life is a challenge, and you need to see it as such, right? If you don't see it as a challenge, you're gonna fail. You know, you're gonna be at the mercy of the wind in the universe, right? So whether that's an anger, whether that's a direct experience, or whatever you're experiencing, it's a challenge, it's a test, right? And if you see things like that, then you could defeat all these things. Then you could overcome them. Then you could really walk in integrity in every moment.
Beautiful.
So that's kind of, I think I answered your question in that long process.
Yeah, I think so say someone's going through their dark night of the soul, right? And they decide that they want to, that they're feeling called to the medicine. They want to, and they want to try it. They've never tried it before, but you know, they've heard all these rumors and stuff. What would you say to them? And
you're not ready.
What's
you're
that?
not ready. You're not ready. Because if you want to try something, that those words already, that neuro linguistic pattern is already setting yourself up for terrible damage.
Okay.
This isn't something you try. Like my teacher says, this is something that you are very decided. You thought of 1,000 times. This is something that calls to you. You know, it doesn't call to you because it's cool, because it's healing, because your friend did it, because you've heard great things about it. No. That's not what this is about. This isn't a mental thing. This isn't something that you figure out in the mind. This is something that aligns with your soul. This is something that doesn't leave your mind, right? It doesn't just come into your mind when you're doing medicine, when you're doing, this is something that is in your dreams. This is something that is in your being at all times. And that itself will guide you there. So assuming that's where you're at, then I would highly be patient. Patience is the biggest thing I could recommend to anybody on this path. Patience for the right teacher, patience with the medicine, patience with, you know, how to do it, everything. It's not a 1 week certification. It's not a 1 year certification. It's not a 4 year degree. It's a lifelong journey. And the more that you surrender and are patient, right? And not just surrender like, oh, I'm just going to surrender and be like, surrender to accepting everything that is and working with what you got at all times. Even if it's the shittiest deck of cards, you're not going to complain and be like, oh, well, I lost. No, you're going to figure that out. You're going to calculate that. You're going to keep going at full force, as hard as, and then with integrity as you can. So anybody that is actually called to be patient and wait, don't jump on the next flight to Peru, because it's a wild world, this world of shamanism, and there's tons of beauty, there's tons of amazingness, tons of healing, but there's also tons of witchcraft, there's tons of darkness, there's tons of not well-intended people. So you can really end up in some weird corners, in some weird situations with some weird people. My friend, a lot of my friends that diet and that are like jungle buddies and stuff, some of them have had other teachers before they've met my teacher or myself, and they're like, where did you, they always ask me, where were you, where were you before this? I was like, no, this is just where I ended up. And they're like, wow, you must have had good karma, because they've gone through teachers who are to this day, doing black magic on them, doing sorcery on them, because they left them or because they were looking for more out of them, whatever, for money or energy or whatever, in whatever way, right? There's just other teachers that need to process their own stuff, right? But it's a fine line, this world. It's a fine line. The same power, once you're in that world, you can, it's a sword, right? You could use it for good or you could use it for not so good, right? Mm-hmm. It's your decision. It's your integrity. That's why this path isn't for somebody who's like wishy-washy, who's today is going to be a healer, but tomorrow is going to be all mad because something happened to them and they're going to get all their emotions. This isn't for that person. This is for somebody who's strong, and no matter what's happening, they're figuring out what's going on, and they're always going to stick to that light. They're always going to stick to that path, because the same way you could be a channel for healing is the same way that you can be a channel for some dark, nasty stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So anybody that does want to, just patience, man. I always say never go anywhere that you don't know somebody who's been there personally. And even then, do your research and let it come to you. Call it in, ask your angels to call it in. You never know the one person who's going to come in and just be like, you guys are all here on this call, right? So obviously somebody's been, this is the type of things that you want to do, call it in and wait for it to come to you in a way that you feel it. Don't make it mentally up here, right? It's really easy to make the decision. Make that decision from your heart, from a feeling like, okay, this feels good. This sounds like the type of experience I want, right? Don't try to create the experience in the sense of like, oh, I got to go to this shaman. It's got to be, just feel it, and you'll be surprised what comes and what light it comes in.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So you mentioned that you worked with other medicines down in the jungle, not just ayahuasca. Can you go into some of the other, even more like purgative, or like the purpose of the other medicines in conjunction for that process?
Like specifically while I was down there in the jungle, or just in general, like other medicines and things like that?
In general.
In general, okay. So yeah, I've worked with different psychedelics, I guess, as they're classified in sacred medicines. More specifically, I've worked with peyote, with ayahuasca, with sacred mushrooms, and then I worked with LSD once, but I'll never. That was way back when, before I went through my whole initiation. Personally, I'll never do that again. Um, just because the syntheticness and the way it felt in my body compared to natural stuff that is here on Earth that God created Himself. Um, there's huge difference, huge difference. So yeah, the biggest things I could share with plant medicine and sacred ceremony in general, whether you're doing San Pedro, whether you're doing ayahuasca, peyote, iboga, any of these powerful medicines, is don't rush that process. Um, don't 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 go to somewhere just because it's available. Who are you working with? Because it is way deeper. I don't care if you've done 300 ceremonies. If you don't have diets, if you don't have training, you still don't know what you're doing. You're still a student. I'm a student and I have training. I have years of training. You know what I'm saying? My own teacher, who is a master, calls me a maestro. I'm a student. I will always be a student, right? And the things that you can open up in that realm, within your energy body, can be extremely beautiful, extremely healing, but not facilitated in the right way can be very damaging, can be unreversible, even that deep.
Have you
So whenever
seen that personally? Like someone go so far that they haven't come back?
no,
No.
my teacher, we've done exorcism and stuff in the jungle with my teacher. I work with really, really, really good teachers. I mean, they've reversed like autism, cancer, diabetes, AIDS, all types of stuff.
Yeah. Actually,
They've worked with.
like what are some really extreme things that you've seen turnarounds? Like actually working with like supposedly terminal or like permanent issues like autoimmune diseases and stuff like that.
Yeah, by no means do I claim that any of that stuff was cured, because I can't. And
Yeah, we have the disclaimer.
you know,
Everybody knows.
disclaimer. But I've seen people that have been terminally ill with anything you can imagine, been reversed, been healed, or been in at least in a very much better state than they were. That you couldn't even imagine was going to be possible. Just because, again, any of these illnesses, any of these diseases, right, are just, it's all energy, right? It's all connections, right? You have your brain, which is like a radio receiver that's connecting to the universe, right? And what energies, what emotions, what channels are you tuned into? You know, when you turn on your satellite, your TV, what are you tuning in? Is it joy? Is it love? Is it gratitude? Or is there still connections to anger, to jealousy, to all these different things? What are you channeling? At every moment, you are channeling. Is it your soul? Is it your soul star? Is that what you're channeling? Are you channeling pure source, pure light? Or is there other emotions, other energies that still have you, that are still around your field? You know, anger, jealousy, sadness. That's why whenever you do feel these lower vibrations, ask yourself, why do I feel this? What am I here to learn? What contract should I break here? You know, what do I need to reprogram inside my mind so that I don't channel that in anymore? That's always in the mind. So yeah, whenever people are doing different healing modalities and things like that, specifically like the shamans and stuff, it's what they're doing is really just realigning your spirit with yourself, calling your spirit back sometimes if you have spirit loss. And if you ever seen like the tapestries and the Icaros and everything, that the people paint, basically you have an energetic blueprint, an energetic grid in your whole energy body, right? And when you're in misalignment, you may have dark spots that aren't illuminated in these different spots in your body, in your field, or patterns that are like not sacred geometry, patterns that are like dysfunctional and ugly, right? I don't want to say ugly to judge it, but like it's just not. It doesn't look like it's flowing, right? So while the shamans are working on you, and they'll see in these different points in you. So what we're doing, we're singing the Icaros, which is like the sacred language of the plants, super vibrational language. Okay, is redesigning you, reweaving your energetic structure, realigning you right to your ultimate being, to the way God intended you to be, and helping that, healing that, helping you heal that aspect of yourself, so that you could just walk, a more peaceful, more in alignment life. But yeah, the Ikaro specifically are the medicine songs that the Shipibo and other tribes as well. I specifically work with the Shipibo. And they are the medicine songs that they sing. The Shipibo language is a language that was taught to them by the plants themselves many, many years ago. So they're jungle, because these are jungle people. These are people that literally live in the middle of the documentaries you may have seen, like on National Geographic and stuff. The people that are just living out there in the wild, in the jungle, that's them. They've been kind of colonized up to this point. There's still tribes that are super in the jungle, and there's other tribes that now have like TV and electricity and stuff like that, and obviously have healing centers, things like that. But so yeah, many years back, they connected with the plants, which is like hours of stories that I could tell about all that stuff. But long story short is they formed connections with the plants. They obviously already had their own like vibrational language, and that's how like ayahuasca was even discovered, and dieting and stuff like that, and connecting. This is like their discovery, right? This is like their like how they figured it all out. Yeah, it wasn't always that way. It's been that way for many hundreds of years, but they figured it out. They had their moments with spirits. They had the realizations and their encounters with all this stuff. And so the plants themselves, when they discovered ayahuasca and stuff like that, taught them the Shipibo language. It's a very, very vibrational language. And unlike English, which is like the syntax of English is, there's a lot of black magic and shit in English. Like, for example, like I say the word what. So the word what in your brain computes as like what, like a question, right? But the vibration, the frequency of what means something completely different. It's not the same, right? For some words in the English language, it may be, pretty true, but for most, it doesn't mean the same. So although mentally you understand what I'm saying, vibrationally, I could be saying something completely different, and you have no idea. That's just what you were taught, and that's how you communicate. So that's why there's a lot of confusion and things like that. So back on course with the Ikaro, so their language is true to the energy of it. So when they say like get rid of, like in ceremony, or cleanse, right, to the actual language, right, to the actual vibration, it's true to the syntax.
Right.
So it's a very direct, true language, and that's why it's so powerful, especially in ceremony, because it's very vibrational. It's literally all based off. I mean, our language is based off frequency, but theirs is true to what they want it to do. And so the Ikaros are basically the medicine songs that they're going to be singing throughout the ceremony. And again, that's what's weaving the vibration, is breaking all these ill vibrations, these lower frequencies, right? And they're redesigning, re-singing to different parts of your body, fighting away whatever they got to fight off. And basically, ultimately, one thing that I want to share is with any healing, right? I don't care who it is, if it's Reiki, if it's ayahuasca, peyote, Native American, Mongolian, whatever it is, the healer can only create the frequency for you to tune into as the patient. It's still your choice, right? The healer isn't doing, no healer, no shaman is actually doing the healing. The best job they could do is create the strongest vibrational frequency for you to decide if you want to tune into it or not. You are the shaman. You are the healer. You are the person that's choosing to go there, right? Right? You can choose to stay in your suffering. You can choose to stay in your misalignment, right? But if anybody ever claims that they're healing or they're so great or whatever, run away as fast as you can. Cut that connection.
Yeah, you get that right.
All the greatest maestros, all they can do is create the space for you to tune into that. And obviously some maestros are way better at that, or have a lot more power, a lot more force behind them, right? because power is just borrowed. I don't have any power. I borrow power. I have the keys and equations and algorithms to call in power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And use these different plant spirits and their power. It's not mine, right? I just have access to it. And the more that I commit to my path and do my healing journey, the more power I have access to borrow, right?
Like being connected
Yeah,
to nothing but attached to nothing.
exactly. Yeah, it's a whole nother level of things. And yes, I don't know why that went into from the Icaros things, but whoever needed to hear that, there it is.
Yeah, that's okay, man. Just handling. I got a question here. Dianza said, I'm interested in David's detox methods. I listened to an IG about not being able to lose fat. It was great info.
Oh, that's a great one. I gotta remake that one. I got so much stuff I gotta make. Thank you everybody who's been patient with me and creating all this context. But I'm rebranding myself and redoing my whole website and my programs and making it just more accessible and more digestible for everybody. Aside from the people that I work with one-on-one. But great question. So I'll touch base on kind of my one of the biggest, if you already follow me, one of the biggest methods and one of the biggest things that I use or preach is detoxing, right? Obviously, me myself, I've gone through purgatives. I've done purgatives in the jungle where I was literally puking and shitting for 4 hours straight, drinking 15 gallons of water through that process.
Jesus.
That's the strongest purgative it's literally poison. Like if you do it wrong, you could die. Not all shamans work with that, right? My teacher does because she knows what she's doing. So after that, you feel it's a whole new life. So I've done extremities. Like I've done that one 3 times. I've done other ones that are similar to that. I've done many purgatives, right? As Maru calls me, and I've officially received the energetic certification of the purge practitioner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason being is because ultimately, right, in your energy field, you have these programs. If there's something in your body, there's something in your mind. Your body is just a representation of your subconscious mind, right? So it's just like a closet, right? It's just like your house. This is your home. This is your temple. So if you want to bring in new energy, new light, new clothing into your closet, right, you have to take the old stuff out. Right. This is why I'm huge on detoxing. No matter what, if you want to excel in your fitness practice, if you want to excel in your meditation practice, if you want to excel in your yoga practice, if you want to do better handstands, whatever it is, if you detox your body, think about what that means. You're getting rid of shit, literally. Like you're getting rid of the stuff that's still in your body that hasn't been eliminated, right? Because your cells only do 2 things: consume and eliminate, right? And every single thing in your body is made of cells. Your liver is just cells, your kidneys are cells, your eyeballs are cells, everything is cells, right? So my approach and my philosophy, right, is, okay, well, if everything is cells, what do they do, right? Consume and eliminate, right? And everybody is always concerned about consuming. Oh, I want to take the best superfood. Oh, what's the best herb? What's this? What's that, right? What can I do more of? But it's usually do less. It's usually fast, right? But even fasting is not enough when your microbiome is all toxic and right, just sludge is stuff that's made a really nice home in there for many years.
Right.
That ain't going nowhere unless you fast for like 40 days, right? Which most people can 3, 4, 5 days, they're dying, right?
Yeah.
So if my philosophy and kind of my method is using powerful herbs, right? Even if you do a 7-day juice cleanse, right? Mm-hmm. Most of the time, especially the way most people are doing it, right? They're just following something they found online or no real doctor strategy or like real science behind it. Then most of the time, even if you do that, it's not enough. You know, the way people's microbiomes is all jacked up, which is your largest mind, if you understand Chinese medicine and neurons and everything, which is a whole other topic, which I'll actually get into. But so my approach is not on the consumption, right? You're going to consume some things. We're going to consume things to get the elimination going, right? This is why I'm big like lymphatic warrior. All my programs revolve around the lymphatic system, because 75, what 2 fluids, interstitial fluids, touch every single cell, right? Again, I'm just addressing what's in every part of your body. That's the cell. So what 2 fluids go through your entire body? Blood and lymph. Everybody wants to say cleans their blood. Your blood's alkaline. If your blood wasn't alkaline, you'd be dead. That's the biggest misconception. People think that oh, I gotta clean my. If your blood wasn't alkaline, you'd be dead. Like your body does that by itself.
Right.
Now it could be cleansed, it could be stronger and things like that, but your blood is only 25% of the energy of the fluids that touch every single cell. The other 75% is your lymphatic system.
Yeah.
So why are we addressing the blood? Again, it's the consumption, right? We want to consume, we want to do. If we address the sewer, the shit that we have backed up in our mind, in our body, right? The toxins, right? We don't need more stuff in our body. We need to eliminate, we need to get rid of the toxicity, right? You're exposed to over 1,000 chemicals every single day, even if you think you're healthy, right? You're breathing in the air, right? Right? You have the controllables, like what soap you use, what foods you eat, things like that. But you have the incontrollables. You're breathing in the air, right? You're touching different things. There's just so much toxicity. Unless you're growing your own food in the middle of like some island that doesn't exist on this earth, that doesn't exist on the map in the Pacific Ocean, like there's just a lot going on, right? So my philosophy and my method is, again, purging, right? Let's get rid of the toxins. So using herbs, I use mostly herbs from Mexico and Peru to help you scrub the lymphatic system, which is the sewer system, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what superfoods you're taking in. If you're not eliminating, right, your cells are going to consume and then poop. So if we're not eliminating properly, then it doesn't matter what you take. So my approach is always on the lymphatic system, as far as physically, right, and getting rid of all the stuff so that when you do take a superfood, right, now all of a sudden that maca's hitting different. All of a sudden that chlorella, woo, you're feeling that, right? Spirulina, oh, that's great, right? It's hitting a lot different than if you just take it normal, like, oh yeah, maybe I felt some, maybe I didn't, right? Fast for 5 days and then take one of those superfoods. It's going to hit different, right? So imagine detoxing and just changing your whole chemistry of your body. Mm-hmm. And then also with my detox programs and my clients, again, I'm addressing the multi-level dimension. Mm-hmm. It's not just the physical, and that's where people are failing, or not failing, just not going as fast as they could be, right? Not that it's about speed, but it's about efficiency and it's about effectiveness for me. So aside from addressing obviously the herbs and stuff, where's your mind at? Your mind is the manifestation of your world. If you look around you, every single corner, every single fabric in your room right now was a thought in your mind before it came to manifestation. Every single thing, whether it was conscious or unconscious, every single thing that you have on, that's in your room, the color, the smell of the air, everything was just a thought in your mind. That's it. Before it came to manifestation, right? If you understand beyond the law of attraction, beyond the way this universe actually works, right? It's all in your mind. Your head, your mind is not inside the world. It's the other way around. The world's inside your mind. Yeah. And you're navigating, you're thinking through this. If you ever took driver's ed and you did like that screen where you were like driving on the video, and the screen was moving. It was like, yeah, and you were driving. That's this world. You're not moving, right? It's just like the video moving everything, right? And it's obviously a lot more high-tech gear here that we get to navigate through this hologram of life. Yeah, we got like beyond Dolby's Atmos and beyond like 8K and all this stuff, right? So that we can experience it and feel it. But so yeah, my approach is not just here, drink this herbs. Is let's restructure your mind. It's just your mind's the biggest supercomputer in this world, literally.
100%.
Like, so if you're wondering, if you're running on Windows 98 still, if you're running on Windows 2001, like, let's get you up to date. Like, let's run Windows 10, Windows 11, like Windows Beyond, right?
Windows
like,
Beyond.
Let's
that's where it's at right there. Windows Beyond.
That's a new one. Oh, yeah. But let's just upgrade the operating system, right? Let's go from 3D to 5D, right? Yeah. The way your brain, the way this matrix is structured is just equations and algorithms. That's all it is. The reason why you have survived up to this point is because your brain has calculated precisely to keep you alive. If your brain wasn't calculating, if you didn't have the right equations in place, I'm gonna go inside. I'm getting cold out here in Chicago. If you didn't have the right equations in place to calculate everything precisely as you have, you'd be dead, right?
Yeah.
So what if you had, instead of being in survival mode, what if you had equations in place so that you can do some cool shit like levitate, right? Or do, other things, right? Not just levitation, but just be more efficient with your energy, because everything's just energy, right? If you follow me on social media, my name's Energy is Truth, right?
Yep.
Everything is literally energy. So when you have the right equations in place, you can use your sacred energy a lot more efficiently, right? This is why celibacy is important. This is why, no masturbation, all these things, right? Unless you learn how to like channel these things and really charge yourself up, then you're draining yourself, you're depleting yourself. Even eating bad foods, right? You're causing your body to have to do extra work, right? So instead of always being backed up, when you fast and you do these different things, you allow your body to go into regeneration mode, because your body only has 3 cycles. From 4 a.m. to 12 p.m., you're going through detoxification. It's best to fast. You shouldn't eat between 4 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's why when they say breakfast doesn't mean the morning. It means you're breaking your fast. Right? The best thing you can do in the morning is drink herbs, right? Drink a lot of water, drink warm teas to get everything. Your body's just naturally doing this, right? Whether you can't change that cycle. Nature is going to do what nature does. Fall is going to come when fall comes, right? Now from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m., you're going through the cycle where you eat, right? What it's called, but the eating cycle. That's the best time to eat, 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that's when you should have all your meals, your heavier food. Start with your fruits, start with your vegetables. Go outside. Oh, puppy, let's go outside. Start with your vegetables, with your fruits, and then go into the slower cooked foods and things like that. And then from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m., you have the alimentation cycle, where your body is now turning the food that you ate, right? This is why you should be sleeping at 9, 10 p.m., because your liver's chi energy is moving from 10 p.m. to 12, or from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m., right? So from 7 p.m. to 4 a.m., your body is turning the food that you ate and rebuilding your body. This is why going to sleep early is so important, beyond just like the mental of like, oh, you got to get to work early, you got to be early bird gets worm, beyond all that stuff, right? Literally, nature in your body is just doing what it has to do. So if you align with that, then it's just going to really help you. So I really sidetracked it, but
no, it's
that's
okay.
kind of my philosophy on detoxing and really bringing everybody back into balance. It's not just herbs. It's not just when you do my programs, when you receive my coaching, I'm looking at where you're at, what's missing, what energy within you is not in alignment, and then whether that's herbs, whether that's meditation, whether that's whatever wealth of knowledge or tools that I have, we use those and get you back into motion.
Okay. So we have another question here from Cosmic J. And I think that we addressed this earlier, but this is actually a question that even though you are kind of touched on it earlier, a lot of people still ask me. So I'd like you to clarify this. She says, how would someone know if they were ready? I feel ready, but when the opportunity presents itself, I decline because it seemed scary at the time. Now that I feel ready, no such opportunity has presented itself. Does that mean I'm still not ready, or is this the opportunity?
Ready for what?
For ayahuasca.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you kind of answered the question in the question. But if you're not ready, if there's fear, it's normal to have a little bit of fear and a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of nervousness. Yeah. Even if you've done hundreds of ceremonies, right before a ceremony, you're there's gonna be energy moving. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's normal. I mean, even my teacher, even myself, like we've done hundreds, thousands of ceremonies, right? We still get a little like, oh, we start to tune into the medicine and things start moving, right? Because the spirit starts working with you before you drink anything. Remember, you're working with spirits. You're not drinking. You're not working with the substance. Mm-hmm. So, it's good that you've gone through that journey, through those realizations of being ready and not being ready and being patient ultimately. But the medicine is beyond the medicine. So if you don't feel like you're ready, like you were initially, and I'm gonna go back inside because I'm like
that damn Chicago weather.
Yeah, no. If you don't feel like you're ready, if you don't feel like there's work to still be done, that in itself is medicine. That in itself is a teacher. That in itself is information for you to process. You know what I'm saying? That fear. What are you fearing? Right? If you just ask yourself the question, what is it that I'm scared of?
Yeah.
You know, if it's like, oh, to face my demons or to face something, right? Like, well, you would you rather live with them every single day and sleep next to them? Like, all right, let's just address like get and if maybe it's a strong approach for you, look into something a little softer. You know, some rape, some sananga, get some coaching. People underestimate the power of a good coach. Like the best coaches in the world have coaches.
Of course.
Like literally, like there's people who have access to this is all codes. The way this works, the way your brains work is codes. So there are people who have codes, right? And they have information that they can help you integrate and download into your computer and help you through that journey, whether that's again through meditation, whether that's through doing some soul work, whether that's through hypnotherapy, whatever it is, right? Seek help if you don't, if it's maybe it's not the plant medicine just yet. And if you are feeling ready and it hasn't presented itself, then patience. Again, always patience. The world is precisely calculated. Every single thing in this world is precisely calculated. So set the intention and then be open. Maybe you set the intention, hey, I'm ready for ceremony. I'm ready for some deeper healing. And then maybe somebody else comes into your life. Maybe it's somebody who coaches. Maybe it's somebody who does sound healing. Maybe it's somebody who whatever, right? And you really are in alignment with this person. Well, purchase their service. Tune in. You know, your money is just energy, right? So what are you using your energy on? People, whatever you're, never underestimate the power of investing in yourself. The people who are the wealthiest spent the most money on themselves, right? They didn't go buy the BS food or hang out with their friends and go to the club and do all this stuff, right? They got real with themselves and they made something that was like the point of no return. Wow, I'm about to spend $3,000 on this coaching program for the next couple months. I gotta get my shit together. I'm gonna learn. Like we're gonna do it. Mm-hmm. But that investment in yourself, right? Whether it's in a detox program, whether it's in coaching, whatever it is, whatever form of healing it is for you, whew, that is gonna. If you understand the world, the way the world works, upgrading yourself is gonna call in more abundance. So in the lack mentality, right? In the lack mentality of like, oh, I don't know if I want to invest this. I don't know, right? You're already telling the universe that you don't have this, that this isn't worth it, right? But in the abundance mentality, if you, I'm not saying like sell your house and like be homeless and go do something, right? Obviously, be wise, right? But in abundance mentality, it's all in the intention you put in, right? So I'm going to make this investment myself. It's going to be the best. I'm going to find the best coach. And here's my intention. This is what I want out of it. And then once you find, and what's it going to do for you, right? I always say, what does it look like? What does that look like for you, right? So why do you want to coach? Why do you want medicine? What are you looking to get out of this, right? And when you can visualize it and picture that, and then invest into it, it just comes into manifestation fluidly. Like it's silly, right? You already did all the work. It's all in your mind. So you already saw it. You already asked. You already know what you're going to do. It's now you're just going through the motions.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. We got another question here real quick from Danny. Said, I have a little sacred mushroom ceremony planned for tonight. I have been detoxing since Sunday and water fasting since Wednesday. Any suggestions for my journey tonight?
For anybody who's using anything by themselves, I always say be careful. Not that you can't, like you live your life. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not. But whenever you're working with, say for example, mushrooms or anything, always pray. Pray first. Use Palo Santo, use sage, whatever you got. Cleanse your house, cleanse your area. Ask permission from the direction. Ask permission for the land that you're on. Ask permission from spirit, right? Tune into that sacredness. Call in your protection, whether that's a plant spirit, whether that's Palo Santo, whether that's whatever protectors you have. Ask for a beautiful journey. Ask for protection of anything and anything that somebody may have sent to you, any bad thoughts, anything, protection and clearing of all that, then go in. And then be receptive. There's no such thing as a bad journey. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There's either you didn't prepare properly, right, and you opened up a portal somewhere where you shouldn't have because you have no idea what you're doing. There's a reason why shamans are shamans. They don't just, oh, here's what you do. There's specific things that they're conjuring, and it's a whole alchemistic science that is not explainable. But or you're just processing some deep dark consciousness within yourself. So those are sometimes the most powerful and the most medicinal journeys, if you will. But yeah, I would do that first. Really just cleanse yourself. Never drink any medicine or consume any medicine if you're not in a good state, if you're not in a good vibration. If you're angry, if you had a rough day or whatever, obviously detoxing food is always good, but also you got that under control. But yeah, you ever drink something while you're angry? That's your prayer. Good luck.
All right. Thank you very much for answering that. We got one last inquiry actually, and then we'll start to bring it to a close. We'll have Emma do the card reading. So Rich actually asked or said that he's interested in your take on Carlos Castaneda.
Oh, ooh. Let me tell you, I've read every single one of his books. Most of them like 5, 6, 7 times. I have all the audiobooks. There's a couple that aren't audiobooks, but
give me both, brother.
And I re-listened to them. I'll tell you something. He's more into sorcery and stuff, which I myself, like I work with light and stuff, but I was totally a sorcerer in past lives and totally, like I said, it's the same path. So, there's a lot of secrets that are in those books that people, it just goes over your head. This is why I've read it over and over. I started reading those books in the beginning of my path before I was ever initiated or even thought about being initiated or anything. And I've read them up to this date, like as recent as like last month. And every single time this reason, I've read them all multiple times. There's medicine. There's so much in every chapter, in every page. There is deep medicine, and the higher your awareness, the deeper that you are into your own medicine, the more that you're going to extract more out of those books. I'm not saying everything he says in there is true, but to me, there's a lot of secrets and a lot of good stuff in there. And yeah, speaking of awareness, speaking about your assemblage point, all that stuff, there's like, man, stuff that people just way over the head. You'll never get it unless you're like really seriously studying the arts of shamanism and sorcery, if you will.
Maybe I have been my whole life. I've just started this journey recently, but 30 plus years ago, I won't date myself. I read Carlos's stuff for the first time, and some things he said in the initial, I think it was Journeys to Ixalan is the book I actually got this from, but a couple of things he said there have literally saved my life. It allowed me to be here today. And this is 30 years plus ago. So I think it's time to reread again. I've read it many times, but every time I read it, I pick something else up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's check that out now too.
It's super powerful. My favorite ones are, if I had to choose, The Fire from Within and The Active Side of Infinity. I highly recommend, which are the later ones. Active Side of Infinity is his last one, and then The Power Within is like his third last. Oh, yep. Dreams, the one of dreams, something dreams. That's a really good one too. A lot of good dreaming practices in there. But yeah, I would definitely recommend. I'm an audiobook person, so I listen and take notes. But taking notes, because like I said, there's everything you're gonna remember this stuff or integrate.
The art of dreaming is what you're talking about. Great.
The art of dreaming. Oh yeah, fantastic. So I recommend read them in order because you can read them out of order if you want. There's still wisdom in them, but if you read them in order, you'll get the context of his story because it's basically his journey of going through shamanism and everything.
Exactly.
So you'll get a lot more. And yeah, thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, super great medicine in there. Again, it's more about like the secrets of the universe and sorcery and that stuff. But yeah, highly recommend.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. And David, thank you, man, for coming on here and talking to everybody. I appreciate it. Can you do me a favor? Are you able to type in your information into the chat on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, so just so everybody can, if you want to contact David, he'll put it there, and also follow him on IG at Energy is Truth. Him, me, and Maru, super homies. We're always working together, so I'm happy to connect any of you guys with him as well. So at this point in time, Emma, would you do us the honors?
Thanks, Noam. Hey, everyone. How are we? So I thought I just wanted to give you a bit of background because around how I picked the card. So obviously it's quite early. Well, it's just after 8 o'clock Saturday morning here. I don't try not to think about any of the call aspects. So I just really kind of get up. I'm doing it while I make my tea, and I pull a card. So today it is healing, card number 30. See all that. And that's why I just thought I'd set that out in, because I hadn't set any pre-intention. I try not to think about the topic. But as we got deeper into today's topic, I thought that was super relevant.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So the message from that card today is energy rebalance, energetic awareness, healing yourself and others, exploring healing modalities, Reiki, the chakra system, your unique and innate ability to heal, color vibration, soul sovereignty, auras, and the meridian system, aligned to the highest good and optimal health. The divine message for this card, and I'll put up the oracle one as well, it's to extend the margins of your awareness, revisit the situation in question from a broader perspective or higher vibration with a focus on healing. This will help you decipher what is real, possible ways forward, and whether an issue is really a problem at all. This card also signifies the universal push that inspires you to explore your healing abilities in whatever way that looks to you. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy your beautiful blue moon.
Yeah, speaking of which, this weekend, guys, this weekend is going to be massive in that, potentially spontaneous Kundalini activation, running into unexpected people, having unexpected epiphanies, just with this Uranus energy being so close and so dominant in what's going on, and this moon being so freaking rare. This weekend is going to launch off like the real. It's sort of like this is the pop quiz time going into final exam week in our PhD in metaphysics and life. All right, from now until December 21st. All right, this period of time is when we are being tested and we are being shown that there's a better way to live, and what we've been wanting to change and live and manifest is being shown to us in the way of our blockages. So whatever is blocking us from getting to that next level, it's gonna hit us from unexpected places, because Uranus is a great awakener. It's unexpected. So if anything is to come in that happens, like, if it triggers you, or if it makes you like feel lost or confused, or any kind of emotion that's other than joy and happiness, that especially right now is your teacher. This is showing you how to go face to face with that fundamental aspect of yourself. Okay, so being present, super critical, important this weekend. Danny, this is such a great time. I feel like you're gonna have a great experience. So I'll be sending you positive energy. All right, I'll be definitely praying for you, and everybody else too. Like, let's have a good, solid weekend. Robin, stay present. All right, you got this. Okay. I know there's just such intense energies going on that, if you guys need to reach out, like, shoot me a message or, hit me up. All right. And I love you all. And, the universe does have our back, and we are all here to grow and to be, and to just continue evolving in this beautiful space where we're all healers, and we're all meant for great things. Okay, so I really am grateful and appreciate you all for showing up. David, again, thank you so much. So much gratitude for you, brother. I love you all, and I'll see you all soon. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Pleasure.
Love you guys. Bye. I love you all.
Bye.
Bye.